Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the objective of the session, that is nothing but to study the three terminal voltage regulators, and the examples are LM317 and 337. That is nothing but positive voltage regulator and negative voltage regulators. Right. The prerequisite already we discussed from the previous session, and that is nothing but the unregulated DC power supply. Right. So in this unit, you have to consider the input to the regulator ICs, which we will go on to study now. The input to all these should be unregulated DC. That is nothing but there will be somewhat supply voltage source like we can say single phase AC mains, that is 230 volt RMS with 50 hertz. Then there will be a step down transformer, then there will be a rectifier circuit, then filter capacitor, etc. Right? And all these things we already discussed in the last session. Okay. So by using that Fourier rectifier, how we can obtain the output as a pulsating DC, then that pulsating DC, how we can convert it into almost pure DC, not 100% pure, because as we are changing the load, that means when load current gets changed, accordingly, the average value of that obtained output DC, that also gets changed. That means uh, the ripple gets induced in that output voltage, right? And graphically, in the previous lecture, I already explained what is meant by that ripple or how it gets added, right? As the ripple gets increased by increasing the load current, that's why we are calling it as a unregulated DC voltage source. Okay. As well as by changing the load current, the average output voltage also gets changed. Ripple also gets increased as well as average output voltage also gets changed. Not only by changing the load current, another factors are also responsible to change that load voltage, and that is nothing but second factor is if there is change in supply voltage, that is 230 volt. If it gets changed, how accordingly the output average output voltage gets changed, that also in the last lecture we already discussed, right? And the temperature stability. Okay. So for unregulated DC power supplies, all these factors are very poor. Poor means percentage load regulation, it do not remains as per the expected. How much is the expected value of percentage load regulation from any power supply? Either 0% or 100%. Last time already I highlighted all these things. So I want to just check.
Zero.
Yes, it should be 0%, right? Similarly, percentage line regulation, it should be 0%, and temperature stability, it should be as large as possible, right? Then and then we can call that power supply as a good power supply or regulated power supply, right? But all these three factors gets affected with somewhat, we can say, large value if that power supply is unregulated DC power supply, right? So by using only rectifier and that filter, we can't achieve that percentage load and line regulation as a 0%, and that's why we have to study that device. Already last time I highlighted it, and that device is nothing but the voltage regulator, right? So the same thing I tried to uh, shown over here. Input is 230 volt RMS, then there is a step down transformer, rectifier. After rectifier, there is a pulsating DC. Then by using filter capacitor, that pulsating DC, it gets somewhat converted to pure DC, but with ripple, and the value of this ripple, it depends on the load, right? So we added one more block I shown here, and that is nothing but IC regulator. Is it visible properly, my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, after that IC regulator, even if the load is connected, right? So that voltage waveform, it do not get disturbed. It remains as a pure DC, straight line, right? So whatever may be the load current condition, the output voltage, it almost remains constant, and that's why this is nothing but the block diagram of regulated power supply. So in this unit, you have to study these IC regulators. These performance parameters we already discussed in the last lecture, so no need to again repeat it. So I will go ahead. Then voltage regulators, there are various types. These points are also already highlighted. That is nothing but fixed regulator and adjustable regulators. In that fixed, there are two subtypes, that is positive fixed and negative fixed. Positive fixed, that is 7-8 series, and negative fixed, that is 7-9 series. Example I given here, if that IC number is like 7805, that means its output is plus 5 volts. Similarly, if another IC is there and having the number as 7905, that means its output will be minus 5 volt. Okay, but in your syllabus, these two are not mentioned. Only the mentioned regulators are adjustable. That is nothing but positive adjustable and negative adjustable. And that's why I highlighted this topic as a content beyond this syllabus. Okay, you should be familiar with these fixed regulators, and that's why I covered it. Okay, so see here I mentioned for that positive adjustable, that is LM317, its output we can vary it, we can adjust it from 1.2 volts to 37 volts positive, right? Similarly, for LM337, as it is negative adjustable, its output we can vary from minus 1.2 volts to minus 37 volts. Is it okay? So as per our requirement, we can adjust that output within this range. So see, just to compare this adjustable and fixed one, suppose we required somewhat 5 volt regulated DC voltage, right? Just take the example, if we require the regulated output voltage as a 5 volt, so we'll think to use this 7805, because we know for 7805 the output will be positive 5 volts. Is it? By using positive adjustable, that 5 volt also we can achieve by using this LM317. But what is its feature? If later on, if my requirement is, my requirement gets changed, that means instead of 5 volt, later on if I require the output as 12 volt, and if I prefer positive fixed, then what I have to do? I have to change each and everything. Each and everything means, first of all, we have to change that regulator IC, because that 7805 can't provide the output as per our new requirement, and that is 12 volts. That means we have to replace that 7805 by 7812, right now. Similarly, as per the design considerations, its input also will we want to change. So instead of that, if we preferred LM317, as we know, we can easily manage its output from 1.2 volt to 37. So even if my requirement gets changed from 5 volt to 12 volt, I can easily adjust that output voltage. How it is to be get adjusted, that also I will go on to explain in detail. So we'll go ahead. So is it okay, the difference between adjustable and fixed one? Now see, again, you should be familiar with that positive voltage regulators. So just go through it, just read it, what is given, and somewhat you will get cleared by this table. So I think you might have understood, looking towards this table, the first column, it is given a mention as a IC part, that IC is 7805. That means its output as the number, or it starts from 7-8 series, that means it is a positive regulator, and hence its output will be positive, and last two digit indicates its output voltage, that is 5 volt. So output voltage in the second column, it is mentioned as plus 5. Similarly, 7806. So all these are the available ICs in that 7-8 series, right? Accordingly, we have to select according to our need, our requirement. Now the last column, which is most important, and that is nothing but the minimum input. Okay, last column is for minimum input. See, logically looking towards this one, if we have taken the first IC, that is 7805, it will be going to provide the output as 5 volt. But what about its input? Without any input voltage, we can say unregulated input voltage, can we obtain the output as 5 volt? See, in this block diagram, second last block is IC regulator, right now. What I am asking about its input. Suppose here the input is 0 volts and the preferred or used IC is 7805. My question is, can we obtain the output as a 5 volt? No, this is not an amplifier, right now. So this IC, it will require somewhat input, and that's why this last column is mentioned, and that is for minimum input voltage. So it is mentioned as plus 7.3 volts. So looking towards these two figures, what you understood? Just compare the obtained output regulator voltage and the required input voltage for anyone. Looking towards this table, for anyone IC, I taken the example of first, that is 7805. As I know, the output obtained, it will be plus 5 volts, but what about its input? I asked the question, input, if it is 0 volts, can we obtain the output as a 5? Your answer should be no. Then how much should be the input? So that input requirement, minimum input requirement, it is provided by the manufacturer in the data sheet of that particular IC. Okay? Is it clear? So the input requirement is plus 7.3 volts. So looking towards these two values, what is the conclusion? The input to these regulator ICs, it should be greater than its rated output voltage. Is it okay? Just let me know. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, for that first IC 7805, as we know the obtained output voltage will be plus 5 volts, we have to apply input unregulated minimum as a 7.3 volts. That means the input, it should be 2.3 volts greater than its output rated voltage, that is 5 volt. Is it clear? So particularly for each IC that rated the input requirement, you will observe it is greater than its rated output voltage, right? So in general, what you have to conclude looking towards this table, the input requirement to this 3-terminal IC regulator, it is 2 to 3 volts greater than 2 to 3 volts greater than its rated output voltage, right? Because for first one you will observe it is 2.3 volts, then for second again 2.3, then for next 7808 it is 2.5 volts, etc. Right? Then for 7810 again the input requirement is 2.5 volts greater than its rated output voltage, like this. For 7815 it is 2.7 volts. Got it? So in general, what we can say, the input requirement for the 3-terminal IC regulator, it is 2 to 3 volts extra than that of its rated output voltage. Okay? So similarly, I will show you the next, that is 79 series. As it is, again, you can concentrate on that first one, that is 7905. As it starts by 79 series, that means it is negative fixed voltage regulator, and last 2 digits, it indicates the rated output regulated voltage. So 7905, that means the output will be minus 5 volt regulated, and its input requirement is minus 7.3 volts. Right now? Is it clear? So looking towards all these available ICs under this category, that is nothing but 79 series, you can easily find out how much will be its output voltage and its required input voltage minimum. Okay. Now we discuss about the minimum input voltage requirement for all these ICs, that is for 78 series as well as for 79 series. But what about its maximum input? So at your end, just note down V in max unregulated plus minus, I am saying in general, plus that will be required for positive voltage regulator and minus that you will require for negative voltage regulator. Okay. So the maximum input voltage we can apply to all these IC regulators is plus minus 37 volts. Okay, note down at your end. That column purposely I do not mention. For 78 series as well as for 79 series and for a particular numbered IC, according to its rated output voltage, either positive or negative, right? Minimum input requirement is given. Okay, but the maximum, how much we can apply, it is not mentioned. So at your end, you have to note down it is plus minus 37 volts. Beyond this one, if we try to apply the input voltage, these ICs will go on to damage. I will take one example. See, last example I will consider, and that is nothing but 7824, right? For 7824, according to this number, we know the output will be positive, and how much? It will be 24 volts regulated. Okay. Minimum input requirement is given by the manufacturer as a 27.1 volts, and maximum already I mentioned that maximum value, and that is 37 volts. So instead of 37 to this IC, not only to this IC, anyone, if I applied, for example, like 45 volts or 50 volts, etc., and that is nothing but the greater than its maximum input voltage handling capacity, right? So suppose it is plus 45 volts for this last IC, that is 7824, even if for this 7805, okay, if I applied input as 40 volts plus 40 volts unregulated DC, this IC will be on to damage. Is it clear? But both ICs will not go on to damage if I applied input as 37. Even if for 7805, if I applied the input as 37 volts, I will go on to obtain its output as plus 5. As well as that 37 volts, it will not be harmful to the 7805 because that is the maximum voltage handling capacity. It is already given by the manufacturer. Similarly, for this last one, that is 7824, if I applied 37 volts as the input voltage, unregulated DC, still I will be able to obtain the output as plus 24 volts without any problem with that regulator IC. Is it clear about minimum and maximum input voltage? Or shall I explain it again? Just let me know fast. Don't waste time. Shall I explain minimum and maximum input voltage requirement to these voltage regulators, or shall I go ahead? Please don't waste our time.
Sir, please continue.
Please.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Now I will switch to the next regulator IC, that is positive adjustable voltage regulator, and this is from our syllabus, actual syllabus. Okay. So already I mentioned it is a positive adjustable. Already I highlighted in that previous slide. Its output voltage we know it can be adjusted between 1.25 volts to 37 volts. Now remember one more important parameter, and that is nothing but the current providing capacity of that regulator IC. How much maximum current we can draw through these regulators while regulating the desired regulated output, and it is almost 1.5 amperes. Okay, so just remember, suppose I adjusted this IC at 10 volts. How it is to be adjusted, that we will go on to discuss later on. But at this stage, just remember its output voltage, it is adjusted as a 10 volts. Okay, and if there is some load, for example, there is a DC motor which is operated by 10 volts. It is rated by the manufacturer of that DC motor, right? If that manufacturer is mentioned that DC motor, it should get operated by 10 volt DC regulated, and its current requirement is also mentioned, suppose as a 1 ampere at full load condition. Means what? Whenever we will be going to operate that motor will be going to consume the current. That current is known as a load current, and that will be suppose 1 ampere. So we can easily operate it by using these regulators. Even if the previous regulator ICs which we discussed, that is 78 series and 79 series, both are capable to provide almost 1.5 amperes of maximum current through it. Okay. But now see, if there is another type of DC motor, a very high torque DC motor or a high load current DC motor, we can say, which is operated at 10 volt, but its current requirement is 2 ampere. That is mentioned by the manufacturer of that motor again. Okay. Means what? Whenever we will going to operate the same motor by using the same regulator IC, voltage requirement we will going to satisfy easily, that is 10 volts, by using this voltage regulator. But when that motor will going to run by applying the 10 volt to it, it will going on to consume the current as a 2 ampere. But how much is the current providing capacity of our regulator IC? It is just 1.5 ampere. So this regulator IC, it will going on to work on overloading condition, and due to the limitation of its maximum current providing capacity only at 1.5 ampere, our motor, that second motor, if it consumes the current as a 2 ampere, it will get heated, and at the end it will go on to damage, or it will get auto shutdown. Right now that features are added in this regulator IC, that is auto shutdown or overcurrent limiting, over voltage, under voltage limiting, etc. Right. So looking towards these given features or electrical parameters of this LM317, what we can say, we can adjust output voltage as a regulated from 1.2 volt to 37 volts regulated DC, as well as it can provide the maximum current as a 1.5 amperes. Beyond that, this IC, it will get either auto shutdown or it will get damaged due to overcurrent. Okay. And to manage that output voltage between 1.25 volts to 37 volts, there is requirement of only 2 resistors across that regulator IC. How it is to be used, that is also I mentioned in the next slide. Okay. Now the another feature of this IC is, you will observe the typical line regulation is 0.01%. Right. How that line regulation and load regulation is to be determined, that already we discussed in the previous lecture. That line regulation is nothing but delta VO by delta Vin, change in that set output voltage, regulated output voltage, divided by change in input. Input or supply voltage. If there is variation in supply voltage, that is 230 volt RMS, I think last time I taken one example, if that supply voltage changes from 200 volt RMS to 250 volt RMS, how that delta VO gets changed in case of unregulated DC power supply. Right now, if you have that previous reading, you just check it. Okay. And from your end only, I taken the values for that percentage load regulation and percentage line regulation. So looking towards these given values by the manufacturer, this device, its feature is what? Its typical line regulation, it is almost 0%. That means even if there is variation in supply voltage, its set output voltage do not get disturbed. It remains constant, and that's why we are calling it as a regulated output voltage. Why I am saying almost it remains constant, because as per the data sheet, that line regulation is 0.01%. It is very, very small, almost closer to 0%. Okay. That means no change in the output voltage occurs by changing the supply voltage, that is line voltage or input supply voltage. Okay. And the second performance parameter, that is nothing but load regulation, it is also 0.1%, again closer to 0%. That means even if load current gets changed from minimum to its maximum current providing capacity, that is 1.5 amperes, still that set output voltage, it will not going on to change. It will remain constant or as a regulated, and hence the typical value of percentage load regulation, it is mentioned as 0.1%. Okay. And that's why I am saying it is very good IC in terms of its percentage load and line regulation. Okay. Similarly, this IC consists of, already I highlighted these points: current limiting, thermal overload protection, safe operating area protection, etc. Okay. That overload protection, it remains functional even if that adjust terminal is disconnected. Okay. See this last point. Looking towards this IC, you might have seen such type of device in our lab also. Right now, are you seeing such type of device while doing the practicals for BEE, basic electronics? Okay, so it looks like this. This is known as the DIP, dual inline package. Okay, so there are 3 terminals. First terminal, pin number 1, then middle, second, and last one, that is third pin. Okay, by keeping its we can say that heat sink towards the opposite side and number towards us, there will be a number given on that IC like this, LM317. So by observing this number, what we can say, it is a adjustable positive voltage regulator. Okay. Then these pins, first pin number, that is for adjust the output voltage. That's why it is known as adjustable pin. Second pin, that is for output pin, and third one, this is input pin. That means unregulated DC voltage you have to apply to pin number 3, and pin number 2, or from pin number 2 we will get the regulated output voltage, and how much it should be, that is nothing but adjustable between 1.25 to 37 volt, that we can manage, we can adjust by connecting some resistors externally to this pin number 1, and that's why it is highlighted as adjustable pin. Okay, that is pin number 1. Okay, so even if this pin number 1, that is adjustable pin, by mistake it remains disconnected from our remaining circuitry, still that overload protection, it works in this IC, and that is nothing but this last point. Okay, now about its block diagram, what is there inside this IC? So such type of question may get asked, draw and explain the block diagram of LM317. So you have to draw this simple block diagram. Okay, there is one op-amp, its non-inverting terminal, positive terminal, it is connected to the reference voltage generated by the Zener diode. This is the symbol of Zener diode. Okay, so that Zener diode is connected to pin number 1, and hence that pin number 1, it is known as a adjustable pin. Looking towards this pin diagram, correct now? Pin number 1, this is adjustable, and where it is connected? It is connected to Zener, which sets the reference voltage. It is almost 1.25 volt reference, right? And by that reference voltage, there will be, just remember at this stage, what is the use of this I adjustable? That also I will be going to explain later on. That I adjustable, it is almost 50 microamperes. Okay, by comparing that reference voltage with that adjustable pin to the Zener diode, that is 1.25 volts, this comparator, this op-amp will be going to generate its output, and accordingly this driver stage, output driver stage, two transistors, NPN transistors, are connected in this fashion, which is known as a Darlington pair, which improves the current providing capacity or output sourcing capacity of this IC, which is mentioned as a 1.5 ampere in its features. Right now, again, there is somewhat extra circuitry to protect this IC from over temperature as well as over current, under voltage, etc. And one current limiting resistor in between the output of that Darlington pair and the output terminal of that IC. Right? So all these points are mentioned over here. You just have to note down and just mention these things. If the question gets asked, draw and explain the block diagram of LM317. Okay. Now this is most important, how we can adjust it, how we can use it. Right now, so many times we are saying we can manage the output from 1.2 volt to 37 volt, etc., etc. So see, this point already I mentioned in the previous slide, that output voltage can be managed very easily by using only two resistors connected across that regulator IC, that is R1 and R2. Okay, at this stage, don't mind about this C1 and C2. Okay, even if you have neglected these two capacitors, then also this IC will be going to work. But if these two capacitors are added, the standard values are also mentioned by the manufacturer, that C1 connected at the input parallel to the unregulated DC. See again, here I mentioned that V in, that should be greater than V out, and the symbol for that source is DC. That means the input to all these voltage regulators, it should be a DC voltage. You can extract, you can obtain that DC voltage from any source, that is by using that rectifier or using some other DC sources like solar energy, etc., etc. But it should be a DC voltage. Okay, that unregulated DC voltage, it is applied as a V in, that is I think pin number 1, right? So this unregulated DC, it should get applied to pin number 1. That's why V in, it is mentioned. Sorry, pin number 3, not pin number 1. It is to pin number 3. Okay. Then adjustable pin, that is nothing but pin number 1. It should be connected to the ground through variable resistor R2. Okay. And there should be one more resistor connected between adjustable pin and output pin, and that is nothing but pin number 1 and pin number 2. That V out, that is from pin number 2. So you have to use this fixed resistor, mostly 240 ohm as a standard resistor should get connected between these two pins. So by using only these two resistors, now we can set this output voltage as per the mentioned value, that is nothing but 1.25 volts to 37 volts. Is it clear? Now about these two shown capacitors, C1, that is at the input parallel to that unregulated DC, it should be of 0.1 microfarad, and at the output it should be of 1 microfarad. These two capacitors are used to improve the transient response. Right. Again, this C1, that is 0.1 microfarad capacitor, it is mostly preferred if that unregulated DC voltage, it is somewhat at long distance from this regulator IC. Okay, so the distance, it affects the transient, and that's why if that unregulated DC is with somewhat long distance from our this regulator IC, then we should prefer this C1 capacitor to improve the transient response. Right? Similarly, at load side, if there is a fluctuation in load current, this capacitor C2, it will go on to improve the transients generated by that load current or fluctuated load current. Right? Now again, somewhat same connection is shown in this second diagram, but you can prefer this first one. If the question is asked, draw and explain the typical application of LM317 as an adjustable voltage regulator, then you can use this first one, or even you can use this second also, right? But unnecessarily, few component gets increased in that, you may get confused. So to avoid the confusion, that means these two diodes, diode D1 and D2 should be connected as shown. Then this capacitor, one more capacitor, parallel to that adjustable pin, parallel to that resistor R2, it should get connected. Why they are connected, or what is their use? That is, I mentioned here, C adjustable is recommended to improve the ripple rejection. It prevents the amplification of the ripple as the output voltage is adjusted higher at higher value. Okay. Then C1 and C2 already I explained. Then that CO, it improves the transient response, but is not needed for stability. Okay. Then the protection diode, that is D2, which is connected to the output pin parallel to or output and adjustable pin, that is pin number 2 and pin number 1. Okay. So this diode, it should get used, or it is recommended if we have to use this adjustable capacitor to the adjustable pin parallel to that resistor R2. Otherwise, no need of D2. If you omit this, the adjustable. Okay. So the diode, it provides a low impedance discharge path to prevent the capacitor from discharging into the output of regulator IC. During the operation, see adjustable, it will get charged right now. But whenever this load will going on to consume, or the load connected to the output pin of this regulator IC will going on to consume somewhat more current, then in that case, the charge stored by this adjustable capacitor, it may start to discharge to the output pin. So to avoid it, that diode D2 is preferred. Similarly, diode D1, it is recommended if COE is used, this 1 microfarad capacitor, if it is used to improve the transient response, then in that case, it is recommended to use this diode D1, right? Now, the most important thing, that is nothing but how much output voltage we can obtain if a particular values of R1 and R2 are selected. That is nothing but mathematically how much it will be. So just note down this formula. It is most important. That is nothing but VO equals to, that is output voltage equals to 1.25 in bracket 1 plus R2 by R1 bracket complete plus I adjustable into R2. Already I mentioned the value of this I adjustable in the previous block diagram as a 50 microampere. So while calculation, you can take it as either 50 micro, or even if you can take it as a 100 micro. So either 50 or 100 micro, both will be correct. And even if you have omitted this next term, that is I adjustable into R2, then also your answer will be correct. That's why I mention here as that I adjustable, it is typically 50 micro to 100 microamperes. So you can neglect that last term, because this second bracket term, that is I adjustable into R2, as I adjustable is in microampere, So this term will be very, very small. So you can omit it, you can neglect it. Okay. That's why I mentioned negligible in most of the applications. So you can prefer approximate analysis by using the simplified equation as V equals to 1.25 in bracket 1 plus R2 by R1. That's all. Is it clear about the output voltage, how it is to be calculated by using this formula? Is it okay? Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So see, already I mentioned mostly we will going to prefer this R1 as 240 ohm. Then the issue remaining is only of this R2, and that's why I shown that R2 as a variable, right now. So here, if that R1 is fixed as a 240 ohm, we can simply say that output voltage, that is VO, between 1.25 volts to 37 volt, it is totally dependent on the value of R2 now. Is it? So looking toward this formula and by omitting this last term, that is I adjustable into R2, as that I adjustable is very, very small. See, if that R2 is 0, that means if that adjustable pin, if it is directly grounded, that means the value of R2 is 0. Then this first term, how much it will be? It will be only 1.25, right? 1.25 in bracket 1 plus 0 by R1. So that 0 by R1, that ratio will be 0. So you will have that answer VO equals to 1.25. Is it clear? And that's why it is mentioned the starting voltage of this regulator IC as 1.25 to 37. It is not mentioned as a 0 volt to 37. So minimum output voltage of this IC regulator, it will be how much? It will be 1.25 volts. What is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can manage its output voltage as a 0 volt, means below 1.25 also, but there is somewhat extra circuitry to be get added with the shown circuit, but that is not the part of your syllabus. In the next year, I will be going to explain it, how it is to be get managed to 0 to 37 instead of 1.25 to 37. So at this stage, you have to remember the minimum output voltage of this variable voltage regulator that will be applicable to negative adjustable as well as positive adjustable regulator, that is LM317 as well as 337. At its minimum output voltage, it will be plus minus 1.25 volts. Why I said plus minus? Because if it is LM317, then its minimum output voltage will be plus 1.25 volts, and if it is 337, LM337, then its output voltage, it will be minus 1.25 volts. Okay, and its value, it will be output voltage value, it will be totally dependent on the value of resistor R2, which is connected to that adjustable pin with respect to ground. So if I make it 0, that means if I provide the short circuit to this R2, that means R2 will become 0. Looking toward this formula as V equals to 1.25 in bracket 1 plus R2 by R1, if that R2 is considered as a 0 ohm, then I will get that output voltage as 1.25 volt as a minimum. And that is nothing but the minimum value of R2, that is 0 ohm. Right. So again, by omitting this I adjustable into R2, if I want the output as a 37 volt, that is maximum output voltage, how much should be the value of R2? Can you determine it? Yes, it's very simple. Just do it fastly. My requirement of output voltage is how much? 37. And as already I told, it is totally dependent on the value of R2. So just put the value of VO as 37 equals to 1.25 in bracket 1 plus R2 that you have to identify divided by R1. Recommended is 240 ohms. So you have to take that R1 as 240 in this formula and calculate the value of R2 to have the output voltage as 37 volts. Just let me know it fastly. Thirty-seven equals to 1.25 in bracket 1 plus R2 by 240. Do that calculation properly, because the same thing today during our practical session we will go on to implement, and we will go on to find out the percentage load and line regulation for this circuitry. That is our next practical. And today only we will go on to complete it during our practical session at 2:15 p.m. Can anyone? How much is the value of R2 to have the output voltage at 37 volts? Yes,
6.86 kilo. 6.86 kilo.
85.
6.86.
Okay, 6.86 kilo ohms. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at your end, just note down this value. During our practical session, we will go on to check it. Okay, we will go on to change the value of R2 accordingly by using the same equation. We will go on to check we are getting the same output voltage or not as per the calculation and as per the practical. Okay. Okay, so we will stop here because our time is also